When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello to all of our fabulous Manifest It Now listeners. Welcome to another episode. I am here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
Cass and I are going to talk about today one of the big things. It's kind of like a sneaky thing that gets in the way of your manifesting. It really gets in the way, kind of blocks you from moving forward and stepping into some of those big things that you're wanting. It's going to be a good one.
I know, I'm excited.
I really wanted to label the episode What Follows the But, because then I got to put but in the title. Butts. You know, minions. Butts.
I love it.
Yeah. Of course you do.
Oh, man.
What are you excited about, Cass?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just excited about. It's sunny. It's been pretty rainy and cold here, so it's sunny. The pool is open. Like, business is amazing. My clients are rocking it, and they're taking it to a whole nother level. And ideas are flowing, which I always love. I'm always in the energy. I love to create. I love to write. I'm going to start writing a whole series. I have 12 books to write.
Mm-hmm. That is exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Well, actually more now, because there's 2 additional books that go with the first one. So it's just super fun, like, to see things moving forward, and just life is just awesome.
Yeah. Must be something in the air. That's what I'm excited about, life.
That's what you're, I
like,
love it
feels, I had this thought yesterday, and I said, to myself, I don't think I've ever felt so fully fulfilled in all areas of my life. I couldn't, not that I was looking for it, but every area feels amazing. Like, and amazing in a, like, really deep way, and amazing in a way that there's so much more to come. At the same time as it feels like its fullest expression, it feels like there's so much more to come. And that feels awesome. So I'm excited to be experiencing that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Ooh. We have something else that we're excited about.
We are. We have a new inspired Manifest It Now live event that you are all welcome to join us at.
Yes. I love it.
So mark your calendars. What's the date, Cassie?
I knew you were going to say that next. I feel like it's September 28th. I'm gonna confirm that on my calendar as we look.
It's the Friday. Yeah.
Oh, it's a Friday?
Mm-hmm. Isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was a Saturday.
Well,
but Friday's
at the
good
end
too.
of September,
I love it.
You guys, we are going to be having an event in Denver. And we would love to meet you.
Yes, and it will be the 27th or the 28th. We'll get it together. By the time that this comes out, you can go to Manifest It Now Live, and it should all be updated. And if it's not, just check back a week later. This is what happens when you work on inspiration, is that sometimes, like, inspiration hits and you go for it, but, like, just the other pieces take a little while to catch up.
Yep. It's fun. I love that you guys just get the live in action version of it all.
I do too. Like, Jenny and I talked for almost 2 hours, but we, like, didn't get to this topic.
Missed that part.
Right. But the thing is, we both know it's happening. And I actually love that you said the Friday, because I would love to do it on the Friday. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's good for our listeners. So I always do my Future Self cocktail events and things in the middle of the week, because our future self, almost everyone's future self has freedom. Like, I don't know anyone who's like, I just want my future self to, like, you know, I don't know, still have to maintain someone else's schedule. And so like being able to do things in the middle of week, like coming in early and doing something on a Friday versus a Saturday is really allows you guys the opportunity to step bigger into your future self and practice the freedom and the things that you might like in your life.
Yeah. It's so powerful. One of the things I've been thinking about lately that's been coming up is this: when you're making a like shift, I love to use this example of like it needs more energy at the beginning. It doesn't, I don't mean work. I don't mean hard work. I mean effort though. I do mean energy. And to like, it's like pulling your foot out of mud. It's like, ugh, and then you're free. And there's something that is so powerful about, that's what happens when you're live or when you're immersed or when you're spending time at a live event or just in a group or you're surrounding yourself with this energy. It's like that extra oomph to make that first little bit so that there is an actual, I'm sure Cassie, maybe you know more, energetic threshold that you need to bust through to get to that next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm trying to think if I know any.
I have another example. Like when a rocket is leaving the atmosphere.
Yes.
How much fuel it burns to break through that. Because like it's very comfortable here. There's one environment here. That's where we're at. That's where we live, spend most of our time. To break through that, it needs a ton of energy and then it's floating free.
Yes. And that is so, I love that you brought that up. And I think we could do a whole show. I made a note, like, first of all, talking about energy versus work, but also there is extra energy up front, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And even if we look back, we can use this real-time example of Manifest It Now Live. There was more energy. It was all very inspired and flowed, but I feel like we definitely put more energy up front in a different way. It wasn't like a huge amount, like a rocket ship amount, but like in the past, when we've had Manifest It Now lives, we planned ahead, we planned a year, we did this, we did that. And now like this time we were like, oh, cool, you're coming. Do you want to just add a Manifest It Now live event?
Yeah. And I was like 100%. And it really felt the cool, as you practice this, it felt so right. I'm like, oh, that's half the reason why we're here. Right. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. And so I just love,
So Cass,
I think we could do a whole show on that energy up front.
Absolutely. Where do the listeners go? What's the website?
You can go to manifestitnow.com and look for live events, or you can go to manifestitnowlive.com and you want to look for Denver this year. And I'm in the process of getting that front and center. But we didn't even say that yet, right? It'll be in Denver.
It'll be in Denver. Yep.
Yeah. And so you guys have so if you are new to us, and I love that this came up, and actually I'm going to credit one of our amazing listeners and also our makeup artist for, putting some energy into creating this. Cause the last time I was getting waxed, we were talking and she's like, she goes, when are you going to do any more Manifest It Now lives? And I said, well, when it's inspired. She goes, okay, because I found out about you guys right after you'd done, like your Denver one. And she's like, so I haven't gotten that opportunity. And now I've been listening to the podcast. I really want to come, And so I credit her with a little bit of the energy of creating this because we're all co-creating things, right?
Yes.
There's something else I want to say about it. I don't know. Anyway, it's just fun and inspired. Oh, what's going to happen? If you are new and you haven't heard about Manifest It Now Live before. So we start at 10 o'clock on the day that's to be determined, confirmed. And you come with a bunch of other Manifest It Now listeners, and you just get to ask us questions. So it's really like a live podcast, but specific to you. So Jenny and I sit there and you get to ask questions. Often we'll both, maybe one of us will take the lead on a question and we'll get the other one's opinion, or we'll both, just like we do on the show, we'll tell you what we think about that. But you can ask specific questions to you. You can ask just questions in general about LOA that you've been wondering about and you want to hear our perspective.
We can go back and forth. There's more of a dialogue. Like here, we get to share our thoughts with you guys, but we don't get to know what the feedback coming from that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or if when we say something that brings up another question, you get to ask that question. So if you're ever driving in your car listening to us and be like, oh, but I want to know about this. Like that's what happens in the live event. You get to follow that up with a question. So that's fun.
Yeah. And you get to meet your fellow listeners as well.
That's right. And us and hang out with us. And if you want to do the VIP dinner that night, you get an additional 2 hours with us, the little smaller, more intimate group. We go to an amazing dinner. And what you get to see, I think the biggest thing that our people have relayed to us that have been to the VIP event is like, we are the same. There's no difference. Like we don't then go to a table and have that typical, sometimes what happens in a girlfriend experience, someone told us, then it goes and it kind of gets into this complaining thing. Like that's not it. We're the same. Like it's and so you get to be in that environment of this is amazing and seeing how a real deep soul, growth, relationship, friendship works on an everyday basis. And it gives you guys power to show up like that in your other relationships because you've seen it. And once you've been in that energy, it's easier to create in your life. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways, the coolest things that happens after you attend a VIP party.
Yeah, definitely.
VIP dinner.
There's no room to be your old self with us. As you'll find out.
That is true. As you'll find out, your old self is not invited to the table.
Awesome.
So fun. Yeah.
All right. So where do you want to start with our topic today?
All right. This is like one of my favorite things. I was thinking about it as you were doing the intro. About 50% maybe of what we do in the Enchanted Circle, especially in the beginning, is really catch what follows the but. And whether you say the but or not. So go ahead. So what we're talking about is really, for me, what I call what story are you telling? Right? Mm-hmm. And it's not the story in manifesting, we often think we're telling a certain story or we're focused on a certain way that we want things manifesting. But when you listen to the words, and often one of the clues, how Jenny wanted to title it, but is what follows that, right? So do you want to give a couple of your examples that you had? What follows the but is actually undermining your manifesting or keeping you telling the exact same story.
Yeah, I just think this is so sneaky that a lot of people, until they really start to pay attention to this, think they're doing really good job. Hey, I'm focusing on what I want. I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about the positive of my life. I'm talking about what's going well, but this is how it sounds. This is what it sounds like is, hey, Cassie, I manifested an extra $25,000 this month, but I had to pay my taxes last month. So I only get an extra $5,000. Hey, did you hear I lost 10 pounds? But I have another 30 to go. Oh my gosh, I met this guy last night who had a great conversation, but he lives so far away. What about, I could come up with 1 million of these.
I know. I am loving this, I've never heard you quite in this, it's like actor mode. It's awesome. Yeah.
And so what's happening when you're doing that is you're completely neutralizing what you actually want. You're saying the yes, what you want, at the same time, you're saying what you don't want. So you're not actually telling the story that you want. That's why you stay in the same spot. Even if you're not just saying the negative parts of your story, if you're not saying, oh yeah, I went on a date with this guy and it wasn't good because of this, and this. Even if you're saying, okay, this part was good and this part was bad, that's not really helping you either. Just say what was good. If 20 things were bad and 2 were good, only tell the story of those 2. This is when you guys start to see how you do this. And I catch myself all the time doing this. I'll stop it now, but it's habit, it's pattern. We just do this. I don't know why we do it. We're conditioned to do it. Yeah. So what else do you want to say on that, Cass?
Oh man. It's like it's one of my favorite things because I always say the story you tell today is the story you create tomorrow. And when you continue to tell the same story, and it doesn't matter if you lead with something positive, but the end story is what you don't want, right? Or if you start, like this happens in the reverse too. We're not necessarily talking about that topic today, but like when it's like, oh, this was really bad, but I did the good. Like you're still telling the same story. And because the bottom line is I'm not getting what I want. I don't see what I want happening.
Yeah.
It's not good enough, right? These are the stories that you're repeating. And it's often like for this episode, like the whole next week, pay attention if you use the word but. What follows that?
What follows your but?
Right? Because that's what follows your butt is what's going to follow you around. Like that's the story that's going to keep coming up, right?
Yes.
I met a great guy, but there's something that's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Is basically like in the story that you told, like that's really what you're saying.
Yeah.
If somebody's saying that, right?
Now, I can see a listener saying, okay, well, if I get what follows my butt and I say, this was bad, but this was good, I'm going to get what's good. And Cass and I are not going to let you off the hook that easy. Do not talk about what you don't want. Even just keep out. It's so funny. It's almost like an addiction. Like we feel, this is part of it too. We feel like we're not telling the truth if we don't acknowledge the negative parts. And that's just get over that. That's not true.
Right. Well, because it's so funny because we're like, but we don't feel untruthful when we only tell the bad and we don't tell the good.
Right.
Like that's what's funny about your brain. So if you have trouble, like get over it, like Jenny said, but also think about that. But why am I not having a reaction to like this was not good, but not sharing the part that was awesome and amazing and is what you want. Right?
It's amazing. What was I just going to say? This feeling about there is a part of manifesting a new experience is being willing for a time period to not acknowledge the stuff, like not give attention to what is if you don't want it. You know? So let's talk about a bank account. If there's not enough money, if there's not the amount of money that you would like to see in your bank account, you must be willing to tell a different story about it, even when the reality stays the same. You just say, you find the parts, you tell the story that is the way you want it, and you have to be able to do that for long enough to build momentum so the law of attraction can respond to bring you more of that story.
Yes. And my advice to listeners, I don't know if you agree with this, because I can see somebody then jumping this whole, like they jump too far to try and tell the story, right? Especially when it comes to the bank account. It's like, well, I want this, and like, which makes it feel like even more like it's not happening. So I have found in my work, and this is true whether we're talking about money or we're talking about anything else, you have to get to there's enough before you get to there's more than enough. I totally You can't go from not enough. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
Oh, you can't go from not enough to more than enough. Like you have to make the stop at enough. And so often when we're telling the story, like if you pay attention to the but, a lot of times that's what's happening is like you're skipping the enough. It's like, oh, I got like in your 20,000, I got made 25,000 extra dollars, but I had to pay my taxes. Like, so you're trying to make it like, oh, more than enough, but stop at enough. Isn't that awesome? I needed this money and it showed up and this is what's in my life right now. And that's awesome. I have enough. And once you stop at enough, even just for a second, like I have enough to pay that.
Yeah.
And now you can create more than enough.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I do agree that, and when you're talking about different subjects that aren't money, it's so important for what you are saying to still be true. So we don't want you to like make up a story that's a lie. Like that's, so we're not saying, look at your reality and tell it in a way that's not true. We're saying, look at your reality, tell it in a way that's true and focused on what you want. Focused, whatever you're saying, how you know this, whatever you're saying about your reality is going to feel good to you. It's going to feel good. Yeah. You're like, yes, this is my reality.
Yeah. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first.
Yes, it is uncomfortable. This whole process is uncomfortable because you are comfortable normally acknowledging the but. It is more comfortable for you to say, because you've been telling this story for likely decades, but I don't have enough, but there's still this to pay, but he's not good enough, but I'm not good enough, I'm not light enough, I'm not pretty enough. Like, you've been telling that story. We're done with that now. So it is uncomfortable to not tell that story, 100%. But it's worth it.
It's totally worth it. And while we're kind of on this subject, I want to make this point clear because I get this comes up when people start coaching with me. We are never, nor will you ever really hear on this podcast, I don't think, fake it until you make it.
Yeah, you will not.
That isn't.
I don't. Yeah.
that is not. That doesn't work because it's fake.
Because it's fake.
Like, right? Like,
there's no
fake
alignment
it until you
there.
make it.
Yeah.
There is none, right? What we are saying is find the truth that is already true about what you want. Find those parts that are already there and like milk the crap out of them.
Yes.
Whether you have to tell the same story about finding $100 50 times or 1,000 times, like that's the story you keep telling.
I love that example. Because I was going to bring up this too. This comes up when we're talking about who we're being. So a lot of people are wanting to be, more successful in whatever area you're working in, whether you're working towards creating a business, a job, a relationship, whatnot. And when you say, yes, I'm here, I've met the love of my life, but I had to struggle to get here. Yes, I've made this goal amount of money in my business. Yes, I've worked with this many clients now. Isn't that great? But you might be talking to someone who is starting their business, but don't worry, I started, right where you are. I had to go through so much. That's still, that is acknowledging, that's still telling the story of struggle. Right?
It is.
And so you're not fully owning that you're successful in that area.
Right. And so you're not going to become fully successful because that's not the story that you're telling.
Yeah.
And it's also like we write and rewrite stories of the past all the time. And so saying, but like, oh, I had to struggle. Like you're putting energy on that where like maybe it didn't feel like struggle in the moment. Like I think you and I could both look back and we could say like there were moments that it felt hard or we could define it as struggle, but we don't. And
on purpose.
Because of that. On purpose, right, on purpose. It was just part of the process. It's how we're successful. It was growing. Like we talk about it like that. But if we talked about it like struggle, I guarantee our current business would become harder.
Right.
As well as when we remembered, we would have this heavier energy about our past than we do now.
Yes. So let me ask you this. Does it feel like things, when you look back at the past 10 years, Cass, does it feel like things are getting easier and easier?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same with me. And so part of that is because we do not tell the story of struggle over and over and over. And the other part I wanted to bring up, which that example reminded me, is like, it is so okay to use one experience of success or one experience of feeling however it is you want to feel of getting a bunch of money or losing 5 pounds or whatever it is. Use that over and over and over and over. Like keep telling that truth. That's okay.
Yes.
That is so okay. And that will be enough. That will work to tell the story that's true. And that, just like Cass said, you're milking the heck out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It makes me think of like if we're talking about building a business and you have one client and, you know, you're obviously wanting more and it's like, I had this amazing client. I did so good with this. I got that client in. They had this result. They had this outcome. And like you're doing that. If you have one thing to appreciate about your day, you milk that one thing. If you have one thing to appreciate about your health and you just go all in with that, to keep telling that story, keep telling yourself how freaking beautiful your eyes are. Oh my God, my eyes are so beautiful. I love them. It's just go all into that.
Yes. Go all in, right? Own that story. Make it juicier. Like add the details. Remember more of it, right? Like just keep telling how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Because there's always something awesome, right? Like, and this is true. It's what you train your brain to look for.
Yes.
So if you haven't trained your brain to look for awesome, it doesn't see it. And so it can feel, that's part of why it feels uncomfortable, because it's a training process to pick out the best version of the story, right? Because there's a million versions of every story. All you have to do is like just ask, 5 people that were at the same experience what they thought, and you will get 5 different versions, right?
Yeah, I remember that in psych class. That was so interesting.
Right? Yeah, it's so, and you're like, that's not what happened. Like often I'll be like, that isn't the way that went, but okay. Right? But it is in their reality. It's what their brain latched onto. It's what happened. And you can have people with the same experience come out different. And so it's just because you need to train your brain to look for the best version of the story, to look for the best parts, to look for the best ahas, to look for the best, like, what's happening, right?
I think one of the great ways to start with this is to make it really simple and just pay attention. So sometimes, because we have so many thoughts going on in our head at one time, or we think we do, it's harder to catch them. It's easier to catch what you're saying. So if you start listening for other people's butts, then start listening for your own butts, what you say it. And because it's easier for us to hear the words that are coming out of our mouth, right? It takes more attention and focus to form a sentence than it does to have a thought go in and out. And so start listening to how you're talking. How am I talking about this? How am I telling the story? What do I say when people ask me how my day was? Do I tell them all the bad parts, or do I tell them what was great and then end the story there? I think this is going to be a really fun one to play with and practice and see what comes up. If you are listening and you're a part of our Manifest It Now podcast community, write in our group. Post like what you noticed, what you found this week after you listen to this.
And I want to add on to your like, how's your day going? It's okay to prep your story, right? Because if you find yourself like, oh, every day I come in and I tell the receptionist like, oh, like traffic was bad or whatever, you like pre-plan the story you're going to tell. Just put a little more forethought into it. Okay, when someone asks me how my day is today, what am I going to say? What's the version of this story that I want to tell? What's the version that I want more of? Yeah.
This is so powerful. Like if you only talked about what you wanted for even, I'm going to say a week, but if like 2 days, you cannot help but experience something different. This is how it works. Don't think about it. Just go do it.
Totally how it works. Right. Just go do it. And let go of the belief that anything else matters.
Right.
Right?
Telling reality to make sure you're telling the truth is not a thing. It's an old way of being. If you want something different, tell it a new way. You're not going to get something different until you tell it a different way. So.
Right. And we're about to I know we're wrapping up, but I want to say this as well. So many people, I think, tell the story because they don't want things to happen again. So they feel like they can control that. If I remember, this won't happen again.
Wait, what do you mean?
Best way.
What do you mean?
I need to talk about my problems, or I need to talk about, the thing that happened in the past.
To make sure
that's
it doesn't
how
happen. Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't happen, right? You don't. Talk about what you want and it won't happen again. Yeah. That's the best insurance policy about whatever you experienced before that you don't want to experience again, is to tell a different story, to pave a new path,
Yeah.
to create a new way.
Isn't that crazy? There's some part of us that feels like I need to make sure I'm aware of all these details so that it doesn't happen again. Mm-hmm. That's not actually how it works, because our attention to things bring them to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. You guys have so much to play with.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, have a great week, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.